My name's Danielle Ziri, and I'm a journalist who has covered the whole issue about the transgender bathroom policy over the past year.
How do you feel about the transgender bathroom policy issue?
Well, it's definitely a complicated issue, but I still think that it has to be about the individuals who it directly affects. So I know that the transgender community and people who are transgender are already having a very difficult time. It's an issue that's not talked about enough. People don't know about it enough. And they're dealing with a lot of difficulties in terms of getting accepted by society and even by their families a lot of the time. There's a very high rate of rejection from families of transgender children who just reject them and kick them out of the house because they just can't understand it. And then there's also a very high rate of suicide in the transgender community. So because of all this rejection and these difficulties, a lot of them unfortunately at least try to kill themselves. So I think that they're already dealing with a lot, and if we're also telling them where they are allowed to pee and where they're not allowed to pee, I think that we're putting a lot on this community, and it's something that's very difficult, mostly for them more than for anybody else.
What do you think about Donald Trump's decision on the policy?
Again, I think he has a very tough job of trying to please people who don't understand the transgender issue and just think that this is a trend thing or whatever they think. And then he also, and I think he forgets that, needs to protect this community, which is part of the people that voted for him. Like Caitlyn Jenner, for example, a famous transgender who she voted for Donald Trump, and yet he's not protecting her. So I think that it's a difficult balance, but again, I think we have bigger issues to worry about, and people should just be free to pee wherever they need to pee. So,
What do you think we should do about it?
I think we need to educate ourselves and learn a little bit more about what it means to be transgender, why it happens, and just learn about it. Because if you don't know about something, you'll be scared of it and you will not understand it. But if you actually start understanding and getting to know people who are transgender, you'll be able to better understand what they're going through. And when you understand what somebody is going through, it gives you compassion, and compassion can help a lot in many, many situations in the world.
Talking about knowing transgenders, do you have any contact with a transgender person?
Yeah, I actually wrote a few stories about it, but one of the big stories that I wrote, I interviewed 3 transgender people, one transgender man and 2 transgender women. One of them was a journalist, just like me, so she and I had a lot in common. And then I also interviewed Hannah Simpson, who's an activist for transgender rights. She's a transgender woman herself, and she does a lot of public speaking to help people understand what it's about, and I think she's doing a great job at it. So I interviewed 3 people who are from that community. It was a very eye-opening experience for me.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Hannah Simpson. I am a transgender woman, and I live in Harlem in New York City, not far from you, Elona, in the East Side Middle School. And I wanted to thank you for doing a paper on this topic for your school, so I wanted to answer some of your questions. By the way, as I said, my name is Hannah Simpson, and I use she and her pronouns. So the first question you asked is, where do I go to a bathroom when I'm in a public space? And the answer is that I use a women's bathroom like anybody else who's a woman might use a women's bathroom. Or sometimes if there's a single bathroom and that's the closest bathroom, I might use that too, just like anybody else. So you asked, what does it feel like when somebody tells me what bathroom to use? And this actually happened to me once. I was in graduate school, which is where you go past high school and past college if you want to continue your education. And one of the teachers asked me, what do you plan to do about bathrooms? And I said I fully plan to continue using them, and tried to leave it at that. Because, as you might know, that when you're very, very, very young, then somebody has to tell you where to go to the bathroom. And sometimes even if you're older and you need extra help, then somebody might help you go to the bathroom. And that's something that happens for some people. But when you're otherwise in middle school or an adult and somebody says, this is where you should be going to a bathroom, then it's saying that you're not an adult, that you're not a grown-up, that it feels bad, that it's saying you can't be trusted to make this decision for yourself, which is very sad and very hurtful and makes me feel like I'm a kid again. Like, not even just a kid, but a little baby who doesn't have a choice in what I do with my life. And I think, as you know, when you get into the 8th grade, you're starting to have a lot of choices. You know, what do you want to learn about? What do you want to do after school? And there's so many options, and it's fun to have options, because then you can find what works for you. When they take those options away, you feel like a little kid again. So, what do I want people who are not transgender or know about the transgender community to know about the bathroom issue? So, I think the big thing is that the bathrooms, as controversial and as much of an argument is being raised about them, they're just kind of like the surface of the issue. So when people talk about bathrooms, the reminder I say as a trans person is that, let's say it's a mall, that I should go into the boys' room in a mall. And I'm going to say, well, I don't want to go to the boys' room because that's really weird for me. And everyone would think that was kind of funny. I don't think I look like a boy. But let's say that I said, well, I can't go to the mall at all now because I can't go to the girls' room because that's against the rules. And I can't go to the boys' room because I don't feel safe, which means I can't go to the mall at all, because it's hard to go to a mall and spend a day shopping and eating in the food court and going to the movies if you can't go to the bathroom at least once or twice like everybody else can. And that's what's not fair. And that's what the people who don't want transgender people in the bathrooms are really saying, is they don't want me to be in the mall because they're worried that their kids are going to see a transgender person and then they have to explain that. And they have to say, oh, well, this person is transgender, but we don't believe in there being transgender people. So it's easier to just not see any, and the way you prevent yourself from seeing any is by making it harder for us to come out and to go to the mall, or to go to the sports game, or to go to school, or to go to our jobs. So I think the bathrooms is just the surface, and I think there's a lot more to it. And that makes me, like I said, very sad, because it means that it's not equal, that I get less, that I can't have as much fun, that I can't do as many cool things because I can't use a bathroom because somebody thinks that it's going to be not safe. So the last question you asked was, what made me an activist? How did I become an activist in my community? And I think part of it is questions like that about using the bathroom. That I say this, I say legislating peeing is legislating being. Legislating means to make laws. Or I say it's about humans being, not humans peeing. Because it's about me being an awesome person and finding myself. And if that means that I happen to go to a different bathroom now than I did before, we still go in, we all do the same things. We lock ourselves in the little stall, we do our business, and then we wash our hands. And we try to get back to the fun things we're doing in life. And I think that's what everybody's doing. We have all these words for going to the bathroom or all these phrases to make it sound a little bit, less like we're talking about going to the bathroom. So we'll say, oh, well, you're doing your business, right? So if you do your business correctly, it should be nobody else's. And I just want to tell everybody that, and I want to make sure that I'm able to have an access to everything that I want to do. I want to go to the mall, I want to get a great education, and I want to see every trans kid who follows me have the exact same opportunities. Bye, Elona. Thank you so much for asking me, and I hope you have a great chance to talk about this in Eastside Middle School. Bye.